Hey guys, I want to review an update, and I'm driving here. It's the weekend. We just had my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Andrew! And I we spent a great time. But I wanted to talk about my eviction. This is as you guys know, I have now two paying tenants, and I rented the third unit to the third tenant in December 15. He paid his first month and he paid his security deposit, so he moved in. After that month, he stopped paying. So and so and his excuse was because he set up his payment online using my software, landlord software. That when the landlord software withdrew the money, he didn't have money. And why? Because he had his electricity bill at that time and some other bills that he had to pay the same time, so he didn't pay, and so his account was empty. So he didn't pay that month. Now I gave him another chance. I said, okay, well, let's set it up again, so you can pay. And again, after a week, he did not pay again, and that was, I think, in end of January. No, actually January 21st, because he was supposed to pay the next month, January 15. Then a week after that, January 21st, and also the payment failed, and so and then I said, okay, look, you didn't pay January, so on February I'm going to combine the two payments for January and February, and here is the amount that you owe. So, and I called my landlord software company and I said, I just wanted to know what's the date and what's the time that he could pay. And they told me the details. So if he set it up today, maybe he'll withdraw within 6 days, whatever, 5 days. So I messaged him and I said, this is the details, so you need to be ready if you will pay for February. I said, okay. He said, okay, sounds great. We'll set it up and pay it. And again, it didn't pay. So he didn't pay. So a day after, I went for my eviction. And I sent him by mail a letter for a request to pay or vacate the property. So it's a 3-day notice to pay or vacate the property. And I sent it twice, one by email, actually three ways. One by email, one by mail, and one by certified mail. And in here in Texas, you can use the three now. All these are valid ways of sending the notice to vacate or the notice to pay and vacate. So I send it this way, and so it is up to your state. So if you're in another state, you may have different law. But in 2026, as of January 2026, we now can send an email if we have it in our contract, in the lease contract, that we can send in a note to the tenant. We can actually send a notice to vacate by email, but I also chose to send it by mail and certified mail. So I sent that, and he didn't do anything, nothing, no payment, no, didn't vacate. So then I went to the court after that, and I requested. I submitted. I wanted to move on with the eviction, and I got. I think it was February 6th when I went to the court after the 3 days passed, and so they gave me a time at February 26th, and so I went to the court February 26th, and the eviction court granted me the eviction, and he must go. So once that is done, I waited. I think you wait for 5 days, and then you go to the court and issue a writ of possession. And so I went then and I issued that. So once that is done, and it depends on where you are. I think there are fees for these things. So you pay for the court, and then you pay for the writ of possession. Not too much. I think I spent around $325 for both. And within a week, a constable contacted me, and we scheduled a time for the eviction. So it's the writ of possession, and the constable will be there. He told me to hire someone, or maybe a couple guys to go there with him and with me, of course, and go and take all his furniture or whatever he has in my unit and take it out to the street. And indeed, we went on March 8th. We went March 8th last week, and we went there. He was waiting for me. We went in the morning. We met there at the time, and then we knocked on the door. I wanted to open the door. I have the keys, and then the tenant showed up, and he opened the door, and the constable told him, "All right, hey man, how's it going? All right, it's time to go." So excuse me. And they went there for a couple of minutes, talked to him, and probably told him, he has half an hour to an hour to get what he needs to take in with him and leave the property. At the same time, I was there, put on a mask. I got a guy or two with me. I got two guys with me. Gave him a mask and gloves, and we went there inside. And we took all his belongings to the street. It took us, it's a small unit, 650 square feet, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. It took us about an hour to take everything out. Luckily, he didn't have much things, but it was nasty. It was nasty. So he has 2 dogs living with him in the apartment. He has 1 room for the dogs that, they poop there, they pee there, no problem. He's used to that. This guy is nasty, full of crap. And, I'm so happy he's out. So it was such a disgusting unit. But the good thing I think was like his, it seems like the kitchen looks good. The bath is good. All the problem we had was on the floor with this pooping and dogs being there and living there. So, and of course they were unauthorized pets because he didn't disclose that he has pets, and of course he was smoking too. So he did not disclose that. And I gave him notice because when I went for inspection a week after he moved in, I gave him a notice and I sent him an email. Of course, I took that to the court, but I didn't need it because he went out because he didn't pay. Anyhow, so the same guy who went with me for cleaning, he actually cleaned the apartment. I think last Wednesday, and so I went there today and I just left. And I set up a fogger to clean because there was some flies and cockroaches as well, and in the unit. And because guess what? He's nasty. He didn't clean after himself. And the funny thing is that the guy, he probably filled the trash bin one time and kept it in the backyard. That's it. And the rest of the trash was in the apartment, was in my unit. And luckily he was there for like 3 months or less. So I'm glad. I looked at the cabinets, I looked at the dishwasher, the fridge is working, The oven is I need to test all that. There's a washer there, washer and dryer combo. I didn't test it yet, but I'll test it. But it may work. Hopefully it works. These are expensive items, but from the look at them, it didn't look like he didn't do anything intentionally bad. It's just like he is, he's a dirty person, and he has his darts and smoking there. And that's all he did, and playing games as well. He's a gamer, so yeah, that's the situation as of now. I won the eviction. He's out. Like Matt, the lumberjack says, I have eviction. I don't know. He has 20-0. I have now 1-0. I won it, first one, and so, I'm glad he's done. The other reason I didn't want the guy to be there is because, if I have a family living there, and one potential tenant, disclosed that she was kind of concerned there's a guy on the other unit, because this is a duplex. So I don't want I don't want a guy to live there. I want maybe a lady and her son, maybe a small family living in a 2-bedroom house. And I'm not gonna have a guy living by himself. That was a big mistake on my part. So I was happy. He's an unpaying tenant that is gone. He's a dirty tenant that is gone. But also because he's, a single guy living in a duplex, and I don't want him to be there with a family on the other side. So that was that's great. I'm glad he's out. So I just wanted to give this update. I hope I didn't forget any details. But let me know if you have any questions about this eviction. This is my first eviction ever, so me and Balloons are celebrating it. Of course, it was my son's birthday, but yeah, he's gone, and it's great to be at this point now. Of course, I lost rent, and but it's not too bad. I'm trying again now for the summer, for springtime, to find another 2 tenants for that property. So and hope I have luck finding a better tenant. I don't know the area, but I'll just have a better selection. I just added so much to my criteria, and I know better now. And wanted to give this update on the eviction from the start to end and what happened. It's good to know the rules in your state. I have an attorney that I follow, and I watched some of his evictions videos, and I learned a lot, and especially the one that he updated for the 2026. So that helps me because I know the rules now, and I went to the court and I was prepared. Believe it or not, I went to the court and I have a file this big of text messages, emails, notices from my landlord software, and everything is kind of marked. So I'm ready, because he mentioned that he will come and defend himself in the court. He never showed up. He didn't show up, and he said he will fight it. And the funny thing is, it's so funny. The funny thing, he said, you can drop the eviction anytime, and I'll pay you the rent, and I'll pay you your eviction fees, and I'll pay you everything. I said, okay, yeah, sounds great. Sounds great. You didn't pay for 2 months, and now you're gonna pay everything, and the eviction fee, and everything else. So that was funny. And of course, I received from this guy, I think, if I'm not mistaken, between 20 to 40 lies since he moved in. Since he moved in, he lied 20 to 40 times, 30 to 40 times. So it's all lies, one after the other, and so, and I knew, I told my wife, when I met him after I signed the lease, and I met him to sign some papers in person, and that was the first time I moved, I met him, and I told my wife, this guy looks like an eviction project. and I was right. He paid. That's the only check I received before he moved in, and that was it. I never seen anything after that. And from meeting with him, oh my god, it was terrible. So, and I would mention something else, since this now it's 15 minutes. I would mention something else before I forgot. He was well behaved. Like he was very nice, and or like he is. With the way he communicates, his communication was A plus. I would say A plus. That's what deceived me about this guy. His communication was good. He seems like a very nice guy. He's responsive, and it doesn't look like his work is like 7 minutes away. So I was confident that he is. I'm giving him an upgrade from where he lived to my unit, and so I was like, I think I was deceived, because when I went there to his house, and he was living in a what do you call it, an RV, at his work. And when I saw it, oh my god! When I saw him the first time, oh my god! Yeah, that day I said, I think he's an eviction project. But yeah, he deceived me with his manner, his responses. He kept being very nice. And on the day of eviction, he said, sorry, Sam. I said, all right, well, all right, no problem. But yeah, I learned so much from this, and yeah, this will happen. Next time, I'm not gonna wait again. I'm gonna just evict the same day after he is late, and that's it. That's my learning. I had so much learning. Probably I'll put it in another video. But if you got any questions, guys, feel free to comment on the eviction process here. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.